YouTube, my name is Mesa Sean, and welcome back to another Destiny 2, or I should say Destiny 3 video. Yeah, folks, we're going to be talking about Destiny 3 in this video. A lot of the leaks that are out there, or have been out there for a while, they're kind of lining up with what's coming out of Destiny 2 right now. If you completed the Invitation of the 9 bounty for this week, called the Hanged Man, we should have one more of those bounties to complete. Remember, Bungie said that we will have 9 of those invitations to complete. Well, when you see it, guess what we see? We see the good old pyramid ships again. And things are kind of lining up with, well, some of the theories of Destiny 2 Year 3, and possibly this summer, leading into Destiny 3, meaning that we're going to start seeing the enemy races, which right now, supposedly they are called the Veiled, and they are the darkness, or they worship the darkness, or something like that. They are the pyramid ships that we see at the ending cutscene of Destiny 1's main campaign. Remember, again, Bungie said that the ending cutscene will dictate where we go after each DLC, so it looks like after the Reef, it'll be back to the Dreadnought, more than likely to face Savathûn, and then finally the Pyramid Ships, which more than likely will be Destiny 3. Now, I've never covered any of the leaks that came out of Anon the 9 or Shadow of Anon the 9. They're two different Reddit accounts. So I'm going to cover them in this video, and all of this is speculation. None of this is confirmed, guys, but if you want to tap out now, I completely understand. Click off the video, leave me a like if you can. If you enjoy my content, hit subscribe, and let's get into this, guys. Let's recap first a few things from the Bungie Developer Insights video from Season of the Drifter. Now, alongside that, there was a Polygon interview that's all text that was with Jonathan Toe. And there's a few glaring things in that interview, but he also kind of just recaps a number of things that they discuss in this particular Developer Insights. In that Developer Insights video, well, the Drifter was someone that came from the Dark Ages, and he teaches us how to drift, to go from being good or bad technically, because he came from what's called the Dark Ages, where he had to do everything that he had to do to survive. They also mentioned that he ran with some pretty bad crews, however, he always ended up pushing them away. The Drifter has a strong connection with the 9, or more importantly, with the emissary of the 9, and she used to be a guardian named Orin. The 9 are interested in the survival of the solar system. They also mention that the Drifter, he's trying to prepare us Guardians with Gambit and Gambit Prime for the coming war with the darkness. Also, Jonathan Toe in the Developer Insight video, he also kind of jokes and laughs and says, well, the Drifter, he always thinks that something bad is going to happen. Well, then Mallory Schleif, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, she's another staff writer alongside Jonathan Toe, she says, well, maybe he's right this time. Polygon put out an article called The Drifter is Destiny's most important character right now. Here's why, and Bungie explains who the Drifter is and what drives him, and it's an interview with both Jonathan and Mallory. A lot of it is kind of a recap of the Developer Insight video, but there's a few other things we learn about the Drifter. So first off, he's very old. He was reawakened by the Traveler in a mysterious time of great suffering known as the Dark Age, long before Guardians, like the players we are, were revived. He isn't a hunter, titan, or warlock. He's a light bearer, a soul revived by the Traveler from a different time. They continue with that the Drifter was one of the first humans ever raised by the Traveler, the giant sentinel ball at the center of Destiny's story in the Dark Age. He would repeatedly die of starvation only for his ghost to resurrect him again. They talk about the large object in the back of his ship. The hull itself is an object of pure potential given to the Drifter by the 9. And the way that it looks, the way that it manifests, says more about the Drifter than it does about the 9. All of the taken within the hull are sort of created from the Drifter's expectations about what he needs and what he wants. He's been given a battery of pure potential. The best thing he can think to do with it is to simulate more taken, because he needs more guard dogs and make some more armor for Guardians. Towards the end of the article, once again, they kind of confirm that something is coming. They say, while they wouldn't comment on how, Bungie's writers said they are confident that the Drifter story will continue in future releases. The Drifter has been preparing for war. He's afraid of something he thinks might be coming soon. So that soon might be this summer or that year 3 for Destiny 2 could be one big build-up for Destiny 3, meaning we might be seeing the Veiled sooner than later, and that's what some of the leaks and also some of the chatter on the internet is that, yeah, we might see the Veiled or a hint of them this summer or possibly in Year 3. Let's take a listen to what the Drifter and the Emissary have to say this week when you complete the Hanged Man Invitation of the Nine.
Hey, how you living, sister? What can old Drifter do for you today? Wanna play some Gambit?
The Dredgen has visions. They disturb him.
We know about those, huh? You the one causing them? Tell you right now, I don't appreciate what they say.
The gift is showing you what you must see. It is your fate.
No, I make my own choices.
If that is what you want to believe.
Freaking psycho.
There we see the pyramid ships again, and if you go to your lore tabs, when you complete this section from all the weekly invitations of the 9, there's no more slots, and we still have one more invitation of the 9. Now this would be a convenient way of Bungie letting us do one more of these bounties prior to a Season of Opulence, and then having some sort of epic cutscene that's going to lead into Season of Opulence. And this goes along with the whole story between, the relationship between the Drifter, the Emissary, and also these pyramid ships, or the Veiled, as I'm going to keep referring to them as. Now let's go over the leaks, which I never talked about, and if you want to tap out here, if you have not already tapped out, again, take a lot of this with a grain of salt. So first off, let's go over the 4chan leaks, and to be frank, anything from 4chan I really take with a grain of salt. However, we're going to go over another post from Reddit that is a follow-up post to what is spoken about in this particular post. These are in bullet points, so let's go through them, and I'm going to chime in on some of them and what I think is hogwash and what I think might be real. Alright, the Darkness is actually a race of interdimensional beings known as the Veil. The game's storyline is about the second collapse. Essentially, the Veil want to use the light to resurrect the Formless One. Question for you guys in the comments section. Do you guys want another reset, or do you want all your stuff from Destiny 2 to carry over into Destiny 3? I myself, I always like a reset. I like a brand new game. I want everything new to chase, but that's just me. You sound off in the comment section. They continue with, it's introducing a brand new darkness element, a brand new type of open world that focuses on faction-oriented gameplay between Dark and Light Guardians. The Cabal and Fallen are out as enemy races. They're being replaced by the Veil, which are the brand new massive enemy race. Veil have more combat units than every race combined to compensate for the lack of Cabal and Fallen, which are now allied with the city. That one I don't know. That's a tough one to swallow, that they're going to get rid of the Cabal and the Fallen. I don't know. I'm not believing that one. The Vex, Hive, and Taken are the returning enemy races. The Veil and the Aphelion are two new races being introduced in Destiny 3. The 9 are also big players. Their help gets enlisted after the Veil take the system, where you meet each of them. That would be really cool. Now, this one's a little hard to swallow. Callus has a massive role in the story, which continues from the events of Penumbra. He's leading a new Shadow faction. Now, obviously, this leak came out prior to when Bungie started changing the names of the DLCs from actual names to seasons. This would be really awesome. Check this out. Factions grant you specialized abilities and perks. Certain factions, such as the Veil's Hand, enable you to tap into darkness powers. The game opens up with a massive war campaign. All forces of the solar system are fighting against the darkness. The Traveler is critically injured at the beginning of the game, and it gets overwhelmed. Europa, Old Chicago, Venus, and the Hollowed Spire are the game's base worlds. In the story, the darkness completely decimate the city and all of Earth. Guardians get pushed into the solar system and have to kill the Entombed, the 7 leaders of the Veil. The Hollowed Spire is the new big endgame zone, akin to the Dreaming City. It's where a lot of PvP faction gameplay is going down. It's a monolithic alien city where the deep, formless one originated from. So I'm assuming this formless one, as I mentioned before, that the Veil want to resurrect us, I guess. I guess the formless one is the Veil's god? I don't know. They continue with each planet is larger than those in Destiny 2. There's a plethora of things to do, such as dungeons and holds. It says claiming holds, and we don't know what holds are, but I'm assuming it's related to this whole faction war that they're talking about, but check it out. Claiming holds is the basis behind the faction war gameplay, and planets change depending on which faction is currently dominating them. That would sound really, really cool. We've been wanting some sort of faction war for a very long time. Continuing along, Veil enemies can drastically affect your abilities and the surrounding environment. They're pushing for greater variety in PvE gameplay. Veil enemies can suppress light-based abilities and also can bend and nullify the gravity in areas that surround them. The Aphelion are the most dangerous race in the game and are glass cannons. They have the ability to suppress all of your abilities and can nullify resurrection. The game is shipping with 2 massive raids. All right, that I don't believe. Okay, 2 at the same time? Stop it. I know that the first one takes you into the heart of the Hollowed Spire, where you'll be facing down the Formless one, the heart of the deep itself. It's a 12-player raid that's a grand finale of the second collapse storyline. Now, let's talk about that for a second. I don't believe the 12-player raid, not because of console limitations, because remember, supposedly D3 is going to come out about the time when we're getting next-generation consoles, PlayStation 5, whatever Xbox has to offer. I don't think it's going to be possible because, look, it's tough enough getting 6 people together to do a raid, let alone 12. I don't believe that one. All right, he goes on to continue. The next raid is going to be focused around the Hive. Guardians can represent a number of factions. That includes Future War Cult, New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, Veil's Hand, Emperor's Shadow, and House of Judgment. They continue with Trials of the Nine is coming back, hosted by the Nine themselves this time around. They also are the heads of their own faction, which is based around ranking up in Trials specifically. Then they finish it with D3s being developed to be a return to form for hardcore players and veterans of the series. Now, a follow-up post was made over on Reddit by someone named Shadow of the Nine, and the title is Anon the Nine Destiny 3 Leaks and addressing the 4chan post. So he says, in a nutshell, some of the stuff is not true and some of it is true. So let's go through this post right here. Now, he does talk about Year 3 in Destiny 2. He says, there will not be another Comet DLC, meaning Taken King, Rise of Iron, Forsaken, to kick off Destiny 2 in Year 3. In its place will be an annual pass 2.0 style model. However, there will be a slightly larger DLC as its first entry instead of every DLC being around the same size. He goes on to continue that the locations confirmed will be Old Chicago, Europa, and a return to Venus. Now, for endgame locations, he says, the immense pyramid-like ship that has been teased since Destiny 2 Vanilla was also seen as a hologram in the Queen's Court. This is the flagship of a new enemy race, which will serve as the main threat to the story. This location, in essence, would become the dreaming city of Destiny 3. Next up, he addresses the new enemy race, and he says, Astro Demons, known only as the Veil. Their visual appearance is described as having a dark greenish skin, sharp claws, and having a distinct stench of wet earth, as mentioned by Ada One's mother in the lore entries brought with Black Armory. It is worth noting that the Veil, being the true servants of the darkness, are on an equal power level to Guardians, if not stronger. For the story, he says, during the collapse, the god of the Veil was slain in a conflict with the light. Since then, the Veil have been waiting for the Traveler to reawaken so they can siphon its power to resurrect their dead god. So that kind of goes into play what was said over on 4chan. In terms of abilities, darkness-based abilities are confirmed. However, I am unsure of any changes/additions to the traditional subclasses. Then he's confirming, and again, he's confirming, okay? None of this is confirmed by Bungie, so this could all be just BS. But the new game design will be open-world PvPvE areas, more akin to PlanetSide than the Division. And he says Crucible and Sandbox changes are unknown. Then he talks about the direction of the game. So the goal of D3 is to cater to the hardcore audience more than anything. This game will be supposedly much more difficult than previous entries and will very much focus on how the hardcore community of the franchise will play. Destiny 3 will also provide more RPG elements in its approach design compared to previous entries in the franchise. So that is pretty much it, guys. I will link everything in the description. So my take is some of the 4chan stuff might be true, and I think a lot of it might be BS. However, I do think that some of the stuff that he discusses in the Reddit thread, this Shadow of a 9 person, might be true. And looking at the scenes from the Drifter talking with the emissary, that developer insight video, the interview in Polygon, yeah, guys, I'm predicting or thinking that this summer and possibly all of year 2, yeah, once again, as I've said in previous videos, will be all about, well, one big build-up to Destiny 3. All right, guys, that's it. Let me know. I really want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What do you guys think? Are you guys hyped? I mean, I'm hyped for this summer, and of course, I'm going to be hyped if they do something like lead up to Destiny 3. That's it, guys. Leave me a good old hashtag made it to the end if you did make it to the end, and do me a favor, drop a like in this video only if you see fit. Follow me on Twitter at MesaSean. Check out my stream, usually and always on YouTube, and that's it. I am out of here like Vladimir.